What's good, everybody on YouTube? This is your boy Akil McLeod, and I'm a full-time eBay and Poshmark seller. And today is the not annual. I like saying annual, but the weekly reseller live show. I took the past couple of weeks off due to the holiday, and we were out of town, but we are back on a regular schedule now. And I just want to thank everybody for tuning into these live shows. For me, it's really fun because I get to continue to build community with you all and just answer some of those reseller questions that you all may have. So definitely continue shooting any questions you may have in the live stream. And as always, I have my beautiful fiance Dominique. She is running the live stream right now, so she's taking care of any question that you guys may have. And she's just she's gonna let me know any question that you guys have because I'm not physically in the chat right now. So like I said, any questions you have, ask that in the live chat. And I'm just gonna wait for a few more people to come in, and so we can get the question and answers going. But just to give a quick recap, especially for those that may watch the playback on this later on. I've been a full-time reseller for the past 2 years. My background is in higher education. I have a master's in higher education and student affairs administration. And like I said, I've been doing this for about 2 years. And I think the last few months, I've been putting up a lot of what sold videos and telling you guys what brands to pick up and things like that. And this level of expertise, if you will, has just come from experience. I've just been literally going out there to these different thrift stores and outlets damn near on a daily basis just to get more familiar with the brands that are selling, a lot of the trends, a lot of the styles. And I've been watching a lot of other videos lately similar to my channel, and I think a lot of people don't emphasize the importance of just going out there, physically doing what you need to do to learn the ins and outs of the business. Because you can sit and watch as many YouTube videos as you want, but it's nothing will compare to just actually physically going out, checking outlets, seeing what's selling, going to the mall, seeing what's selling, seeing what people are wearing, seeing the brands that's in. That would really keep you ahead of the game, especially if you're selling fashion. And so yeah, I just wanted to let you guys I just wanted to make sure I articulated that, because I don't think enough people talk about the importance of just doing it. You know what I mean? You're gonna make mistakes as you go, but you literally just have to go out and do it. So with that being said, I'm seeing we got about 25 people in the chat right now. So go ahead and hit that like button so more people can come to the channel, come to this particular video. That way YouTube lets people know that what we're doing here is actually, meanwhile, worthwhile. That's what I mean. Meanwhile. Anyway, so I'm going to start jumping into some of the questions that I have. I'm pulling a lot of these questions from some of my older videos in the comment section. I always tell you guys to drop questions if you have any, and I basically answer 99% of the questions and the comments that's in the chat. That's in my YouTube comments. So I read all the comments just to let you guys know. And I'm just basically pulling some of the best questions that I've seen, some questions that I think could really help some of you guys, but still drop some of those questions in the live stream. And Dom is going to answer some of them, and I'm going to answer some of them as well in the live show. So first question is from Reina Morales, and she says, I have a question. Do you offer free shipping on eBay, or is it better to have the buyer pay for shipping? Now, when it comes to eBay shipping, only time I would offer free shipping is if I'm not accepting any offers on an item, and I basically added the extra $3 to $4 for the cost of shipping. So if I am charging for shipping, that means I'm accepting an offer, and I'm charging shipping just in case I take a $10 offer less than my asking price. So I think that's probably the best way to do it. Some people offer free shipping on every item and they still accept offers, and I tried that method, but it just doesn't work for me because I found that my profit margins was really slim. I found myself only making $10 to $50 on some higher ticket items, and since I started charging for shipping, I started making more, closer to 20 to 25 bucks. And the longer you've been doing this, when you're thinking about it from like a yearly standpoint, you would realize $5 and $7 difference goes a really long way through the course of a year. So keep that in mind as well. Next question I have from Chris Powers. He says, do you sell other things or just mainly clothes? Now, I get a lot of stuff from garage sales, thrift stores, flea markets, that type of stuff. So if I'm in a thrift store and I see certain electronics that I'm familiar with, I'm going to pick that up and I'm going to sell it. And of course, I'm only going to sell it on eBay. But for the most part, I do men's clothing. Men's clothing is what I'm most familiar with. That's where I have the most amount of knowledge on. And I don't dabble in a lot of women's clothing. It's only a few women's brands that I'm familiar with. So like Eileen Fisher, Lululemon, a lot of the stuff that everybody's aware about, those are the stuff that I pick up because I know it sells pretty quickly. But a lot of those boutique women's brands and brands that I'm not knowledgeable on, other resellers, they just capitalize on that when we're in Goodwill, because I'm only focused on a small niche, and a lot of those other women that's resellers, they're selling a ton of other women's brands. So that's what works best for me. But if you guys want to sell different products, dabble in different platforms, sell on eBay, sell on Poshmark. People ask me all the time if I sell on Mercari, and I don't. But I've heard it's pretty good. I've purchased items from Mercari. I just haven't sold anything on there yet. So like I say, if you sell a plethora of different items, you have to sell on other platforms. You have to sell on Amazon, eBay, Poshmark, because certain stuff just sell better on different platforms. And once you start dabbling in different categories, you would realize which platforms do best for you. So next question I got is from Kyle Potter, and he says, what do you think is personally the best time of day to hit the thrift? Thanks for all the quality content. Thanks, Kyle. The best time to hit the thrift, I actually made a video on this. This is one of my first videos back in August of last year. And I was saying the best time to hit the thrift is as early as possible. Now, if you're a part-time seller, the earliest time for you might be your lunchtime, your lunch break. And when I wasn't doing this full time and I was just like buying stuff from thrift stores for my personal collection, I would go to the thrift store on my lunch break almost every day, just because I was slowly finding myself getting addicted to it. I would find some crazy stuff in my thrift stores every single day. So I just slowly but surely started hitting the thrifts every, say, 12 o'clock I would go, 4 o'clock I would go. And this is before I was even selling items. So I don't suggest you guys to be as as in depth as I was, because that's just my personality. If I'm getting into something new, I just go all the way in. But it's best to go as early as possible, go often as possible. Don't just say you're going to go on Thursdays and that's it, because you always remember that you're competing with other resellers and you're competing with people that's buying stuff just for themselves. So if you only go one day a week and you're competing with somebody like me that goes almost every day, the odds of you finding something really, really high end is slim. But if you go, the more often you go, the more consistently you go, you find yourself getting a lot of those crazy finds that resell for $100+. And when you guys watch my What Sold videos and you see the crazy stuff that I find in these thrift stores, that's only because I go so often. So keep that in mind as well. Next question is from Mia Rose. She said, what's up with people saying Poshmark is dead? And I think some people may say, I've been hearing people say eBay is dead. I've been hearing people say Poshmark is dead. I don't follow Mercari stuff, but I'm pretty sure there's people saying that too. And the thing with these reselling platforms, why people get turned off kind of quickly, is because there's so many different channels and so many different people on social media, sharing their sold videos and shit, talking about stuff they may have picked up for $5 and sold for $300. And I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but those things are pretty rare. You know what I mean? And for somebody just getting into reselling, they may think it's as simple as going to the thrift store, finding a wallet, paying 50 cents for it and selling it for 20 the next day. And that's really not how this game is. And for some people, they may get turned off because they think it's easy money. And in reality, it's not. This is a real job. I'm sure many of you guys know this is a real job. It takes a lot of work to get to a point where you're comfortable. And when it comes to any business, for that matter, there's going to be ups and downs. There's going to be times where things are really good and times where things are really slow. And you just got to persevere and kind of figure out how to manage, just kind of how to maneuver through those times. You know what I mean? Some people say summertime is slow. Wintertime may be slow for some people, depending on the part of the country you're in. So it just depends on those type of things. But I'm gonna go to the live chat now and see if there's any questions in there that you guys have dropped, and I could start to answer some of those. You are in California. Any issues with listing fake products by accident? Absolutely. So there was a time I was selling a pair of Evisu jeans on eBay, and I actually got my account suspended for a week. And looking back at it, this was pretty stupid. Like, I should have known these jeans was fake, but the quality was so good that it fooled me. And it had like holographic stickers on the tag. It looked so legit that I could have sworn it was real. So I listed it, and the next day at 12 o'clock is when I realized that um, eBay sent me an email saying that I had a strike on my account. I'm gonna get suspended for 7 days, and when you're suspended, you can't list new items. Everything that you already have on there is still going to be able to sell. You can still interact. You can still change listings if you want, but you can't. I don't even know if you could change listings, but I just know you can't add anything new. And as you guys know, when it comes to eBay, you kind of have to constantly feed the beast. You have to keep listing in order for your items to get views. And if you stop listing for a week, that could really damage your eBay store. So I've learned that lesson. It even happened a second time when I was trying to sell a soccer jersey that was fake. But you just learn, you learn what to look out for. You learn how to deal with fakes. You learn how to just trust your gut. And if it looks a little suspicious, I don't deal with it. But yeah, I just like to do stuff like that.
This is more of a statement.
Sharon Crawford, be careful on free shipping. If you expect returns, they expect you to pay for shipping if they return. Yeah, that wasn't a question, more of a statement, but absolutely, I agree 100%. When it comes to those free returns, that's why I don't offer free returns on eBay either, because some people, they take advantage of it. You know what I mean? It might be nothing wrong with the item, but they just change their mind, and because they know they can return it for free, they're going to go ahead and do that. So I don't offer free shipping on eBay, I don't offer free returns on eBay for that reason, just because you can't trust everybody. I value time and Poshmark. Poshmark consumes a lot of time with all the sharing. How long does it take to share a day? That question is from who? From Luigi. Luigi. All right. So when it comes to sharing, I share my closet about 3 to 4 times a day. I don't have that many items in my Poshmark closet. I have about 180 active pieces in my Poshmark closet. So it takes me about 7 to 10 minutes to share my entire closet. I share my closet on the computer because it's a lot faster than trying to share it on your phone. And I usually share it during parties. So I share my entire closet during whatever party is happening during that time. And if you have a ton of items, I know some people have bots, and I'm not going to tell you go ahead and use a bot, because if you get your account suspended or if you get in trouble, you're going to say Akil told you to do it. And I'm not telling you to go out and get a bot. I'm just telling you what other people are doing. But at the end of the day, time is important. But if you want to make the money, you got to share your closet. And I just limit myself to 3 to 4 times a day because I'm engaged. I don't got time to be sharing all day long. Dom will tell you, if it was up to me, I would share my closet 50 times a day. I'd be doing in the crib just sharing. But you gotta be realistic, and the most realistic way to do it, the most realistic way to do it is to share it 3 to 4 times a day. Anything more than that, you're doing too much. Congrats on Dom and Akil on the upcoming wedding. Do y'all plan to attend eBay or Poshmark Live? I was gonna do eBay Open, and I never got the email when the tickets first released. I believe, and when tickets first released, it was $349, and I didn't get a notification about it until tickets were sold out, and then they started offering tickets for $500. So for me, it's just the principle. I don't want to pay $150 more than everybody else did, especially considering the fact that I didn't get notified the tickets were on sale. So I'm not going to eBay Open this year. I'll probably go next year. But Poshmark, Posh Fest, I'm definitely planning on going. We definitely planning on going. I think it's going to be in Arizona this year. And if it is, we will definitely be going because we love Phoenix. We love Arizona. So we'll definitely be going. And for the most part, we plan on going there. I meant to ask, how do you handle purchases on eBay and Poshmark while on vacation? So we travel fairly often. We don't travel as much as we used to, but for the most part, I would put my Poshmark closet on vacation mode, and it depends. If we're only doing like a 3-day trip, I might not put it on vacation mode, and I might just reach out to the person and let them know, hey, I usually ship it out same day, but I'm out of town. If you want me to cancel it, let me know. But if you can wait a couple days, let me know as well, and I'll do that. And most people, they don't mind waiting, because most people, they don't expect same day shipping. Most people expect 1 to 2 days. So if you're telling them you'll be shipping it maybe a day or 2 days later, they're fine with that. On eBay, I push my handling time back. So I'll push it back to, say, instead of one business day, I will push it back to, say, 5 business days or 3 business days. And that will give me more time to, once I get back, it'll give me some more time to ship it out in a good amount of time. And what I do, if say we're doing like a 5-day trip, I would push it back to 3 business days, and then each day I would just shorten it. So by that last day of the trip, I'm back to normal 1 business day shipping, and that helps with the algorithm for eBay too. It kind of lets them know that you're active, your store is making some changes and stuff like that. And usually when we go on trips, I still make a decent amount of sales. So try that method if you guys want. Give us your number 1 to do to sell more, and number 1 not to do to sell more. Number 1 thing to do to sell more. Let me sip on this water.
Let me sip on my mimosa.
She about to sip on her mimosa. I'm gonna sip on this water. The number 1 thing to do to sell more is to just buy more quality items. I think people get caught up in order to sell more, you need to buy more. And to a certain degree, that's true. But if you have a ton of stuff that nobody wants, it's not going to sell. I think you need to focus more on quality as opposed to focusing on quantity, and just really try to buy things that are dope, stuff that people actually want. And once I started doing that, I started seeing my sales skyrocket. When I was on Poshmark, when I first started on Poshmark, I was just kind of listing stuff just to see what's selling. And a lot of the stuff that I thought was dope wasn't moving. And I just kind of paid attention to the trends. I started to pay attention to what the brands that Poshmark was pushing. And I would go to a lot of the sold items, and I would see what's actually selling on Poshmark. Like, what are people paying for on a daily basis, and how much are they paying for it? And once I just basically did what they're doing, I'm selling what they're selling. I'm not trying to reinvent the wheel. I'm just making sure that I go out to these thrift stores and these garage sales, and I put myself in a position to come across these things that's selling. And I'm in California. I'm in a pretty wealthy area, so the brands that people are getting rid of, pretty high-end stuff. But if you don't actively go out on a consistent basis, you're gonna miss out. You know what I mean? Because there's tons of other resellers here as well. So definitely keep that in mind. Oh, the number 1 not to do. I didn't say the number 1 not to do. Shit, what's the number 1 not to do? Don't rely on just a few things to sell. Like, this might actually sound like counterintuitive to what I was just saying, but you need to constantly like edit your listings. You need to constantly change your prices, pay attention to the market. Don't just list it and forget about it. A lot of people do that, and they wait 30 days, 60 days before they change anything. I change my listings between the first 15 days. If I'm not getting any activity, any offers, I'm lowering the price. I might change the title. I might change the pictures. You know what I mean? Like, I'm doing stuff to make my listing more attractive every 2 weeks. So the number 1 thing to not do is to not just set it and forget it. You gotta add the listing and then try to adjust it as much as you can. Okay. Well, you gotta go. I started a store a week ago. This is from, I can't say her name, but Ikea. I think it's Akaya. I started a store a week ago. I posted 30 new items last night, but they all disappeared and I can't post anymore. Has this happened to anyone else? No, this has not happened to me, and I don't know what that's about. If I was you, I'd probably email Poshmark, their support service, and see what's going on with that, because that's never happened to me where I've listed a bunch of stuff and now I can't list anymore. But then again, I've only listed about 15 things in a day on Poshmark, so it might be a limit to the amount of stuff that you could list a day. If anybody's familiar with that, drop a comment in the live chat and let me know, because it might be they might cap the amount that you can list on Poshmark every day, because I've only listed about 15 in a day. Posh Fest went on sale today. Oh, so where is it? Please let me know in the chat. Is it in Arizona or is it somewhere else? Is it in Dallas again? Because I definitely want to go. I'm gonna offer $9 on that shirt you got on. Nah, bro. I paid $6 for this shirt, but this is old school Adidas. This ain't vintage, but it's old school, and I wear this all the time.
They said it's in Arizona.
It's in Arizona. It's lit. We going. You will see us in Arizona, Phoenix. So let me know if y'all going in the chat. So I'm gonna go back to the questions I got. This one is from Adriana Lynn. She says, "Where do you source?" And I was talking about that before. I source in Goodwill, thrift store, Goodwill, consignment shops like Buffalo Exchange, Plato's Closet, Crossroads. Those are the places that I like to go get higher end pieces, and I would trade in some of like the lower end brands or just stale inventory. So for instance, if I'm in the thrift store and I come across a lot of Lucky brand, I know Plato's Closet might take a lot of Lucky brand. So I might buy Lucky brand for $2 or $3 and trade 4 or 5 pieces in, and they might give me $50 for those stuff. And then I'll trade those $10 worth of Lucky brand shirts, and I'll get a pair of sneakers that sells for $100. And that's what I like to do sometimes. I don't go to flea markets that often, but that's something I like to do. Garage sales I don't hit as often, but I still go fairly consistently. And outlets is starting to be a really big part of my system. I just went to the UGG outlet yesterday and I bought a lot of shoes. I went to the Adidas outlet about 3 weeks ago and I bought about 40 pairs. So that's where I like to source. We got some chats. We got some questions in the chat from Mario Dones. Before you started buying in bulk, about how many active listings were you maintaining? Before I started buying in bulk, I was maintaining about maybe like 150 pieces. And even now when I'm buying in bulk, I'm not so much buying like one item in bulk. I'm more so buying a ton of shoes. So for instance, I'm looking at the boxes I have right in front of me, and it's only like 3 or 4 of the same style, but a lot of them are like just different sizes, different styles, but they were all the same price. So I just had to buy it. You know, I just couldn't wait on it. But 150 items is how much I maintained in the beginning. And the more my store grew and the more profits I was making, I started to just put all that profit right back into the business, because for the most part, I'm not like buying stuff anymore. I'm not buying clothes. Like I told you, this shirt was $6. This shirt is dope to me, but I'm not in the store. This is probably $40, and I'm not buying a shirt for $40 anymore. So all my profits go right back into the business, and that's how I was able to kind of start buying in bulk and start adding more inventory, or just start going to the thrift store and spending $100 instead of spending 20. Squeezable, how many hours per week do you spend sourcing approximately? That's a good question. I don't know. That might make me reconsider the amount of time I source. So if I go every day and I spend about 45 minutes to an hour, that's about maybe 7 to 9 hours a week sourcing. So that's not that bad, but there are some days, say it's a 50% off day, I might spend 2 hours in the thrift store. I might spend 2.5 hours. And there's some days where I may go to the thrift store and then I'm going to the gym, and I might go right back to the thrift store after I leave the gym. So altogether, it might be anywhere between 45 minutes to an hour and a half every day, give or take. So yeah, I think that's a realistic amount. More questions that are saved from previous videos. I just started watching your videos and subscribed. Thank you very much. I'm just wondering if any of your outlet stores have ever tried to limit your quantities. Is that ever a thing? Now, when it comes to shopping in outlets, it kind of depends on 2 things. It depends on if the store associate is cool and they don't care. They're just there to like cash you out, and they don't care. But if you come across that person that's trying to be employee of the month, they might tell you, oh, sorry, the limit is 10. Limit is 15, and then they're going to call their manager and make it hot. So it just depends on the person that you're dealing with. Most of the time when I go to Nike or Adidas, they don't give me a limit. And honestly, one thing that I tried last time I went to the Adidas outlet, I wore like a whole Adidas tracksuit. So I looked like I was an employee. So when I walked in there, I bought 40 pairs of shoes. I didn't get any trouble. They said they limited my styles to 10, and they just said if you have a different credit card, you're good to go. So that worked out in my favor. I don't know if the tracksuit had anything to do with it. I'm just telling you what I wore. But I think, like I said, it really just depends on the store associate. It depends on if you're dealing with a manager. And sometimes, to be honest, a lot of these employees, they try to give their friends a discount. They try to call their family to take advantage of a certain deal. So they might not want you to buy 50 pairs of shoes that they wanted. So keep that in mind as well. Still got some more questions from previous videos. This one person said, I'm Christine Feeney. I'm really interested in your lighting setup. I'm having such a hard time with lighting. I love all the white background. However, I have to do so much editing that I can barely list 3 a day. Also, a video on how to make more sales on both platforms would be awesome. Now, when it comes to my lighting, I have a lighting, like an overhead light that I put over the whatever I'm taking a photo of. And I'm actually using that light right now for these videos. And I also use a trifold, kind of like that science project board. And I use that for my white background. So it's just those 2 things that I use.
Super chat.
But we got a super, hey, Larry Marshall, thank you very much. Happy for the upcoming wedding. Good luck. I'm happy for such a beautiful couple. Thank you, Larry. I appreciate you. What was that? Where was I saying? That's dope. That's what's up. People love us. That's beautiful. But yeah, so when it comes to editing photos, I don't edit any photos anymore. I used to edit photos. I used to like adjust the brightness and exposure and stuff like that. I don't do that anymore. Just having that light and having a complete white background really helps. And I think it helps because when the buyer gets the item, they don't tell me that the colors were off. When I used to edit photos before, some people would say it looked like a darker green or it looked like a lighter green. And since I started only using my overhead light and a complete white background, I don't get those comments anymore. Also, try using natural daylight. That usually really helps. Because with natural daylight, you don't need to pay for an overhead light. But I have the links to the overhead light, the trifold boards, the stuff that I'm talking about that I actually use. I have links to that in the description. And those are all like Amazon affiliate links. So if you buy it from there, I get a little something. So thank you. This is another one from Christine Feeney. What podcast do you listen to? Now, this came from a video where I was telling you guys, I kind of was just giving like a motivational rant that day, and I was talking about the podcast I was listening to. And some of the podcasts I listen to is all entrepreneurial based, all business based, all about mindset and how to kind of just stay in the game, because sometimes when things are going rough, you might get discouraged and stuff like that. So I listen to a lot of stuff that keeps me motivated. And one of them in particular is The Art of Charm. I like that one a lot. Matt Diavella, I believe it's called From the Ground Up. And there's a new podcast, and it's not really motivational based, but it's the Knuckleheads, and it's Darius Miles and Quentin Richardson. They used to play basketball, and they interview active basketball players and some that are retired as well. But the way they talk about it, it comes from such a realistic standpoint that it makes me feel like I could play in the NBA, or if I was getting millions of dollars, I would know how to handle that money. So I listen to different type of podcasts for different reasons, but those are the top 3 right now. Next, this is from Wolf House. Can you explain how do you know when things are vintage? When it comes to spotting vintage pieces, especially vintage t-shirts, sometimes the vintage items might literally have a date on the shirt, and it might say 1988. And to the vintage people out there, the vintage connoisseurs, I know people always say 20 years or older is considered vintage, so keep that in mind. Something else to spot vintage, especially when it comes to t-shirts, is a single stitch on the sleeve. That's a really good detail to look for when it comes to spotting vintage t-shirts. And anything else vintage related, whether it's shoes. When it comes to shoes, I would check the inside. It's ironic because this is a pair of old shoes in front of me right here. I picked these up from a garage sale not too long ago. And then the size tag, I'm not sure if you guys will be able to see that, but in the size tag, it has like a certain style code. And the first few digits in that style code is 930406. And that just lets me know that these are from 93. This is a pair of vintage Nike Huaraches. And it's as you guys can see, it's like the glue is starting to peel a little bit. There's some like normal signs of wear for the age. But overall, this is still, you know, quality pair of shoes. And somebody that's into vintage shoes will definitely want this. So the style code will usually let you know how old the shoe is. Some shoes don't tell you the date like this one does, but like I said, I do a lot of research when it comes to sneakers and clothing and stuff like that. So the more research you know, the more research you do, the more you learn as time progresses. Do we have any questions in the live chat? Nope, no live questions in the chat. All right, so I got a few more questions here, and once I'm pretty much ran out of these questions, if you don't have any questions in the live stream, you'll just end the live stream. Next is from Coast to Coast Vision. Do you post your items on both eBay and Poshmark at the same time? Now, I used to do that. I used to cross list everything on eBay, and I would put all of those clothing items, I'll put that on Poshmark. Now I buy certain items solely for Poshmark, and I buy items solely for eBay. So what that means is basically I'm no longer cross-listing everything on both platforms, but certain brands I know sell better on Poshmark, and it's not so much about what certain brands are selling better. I've realized that, you know, small profits add up. And if it's a shirt that sells for $20 on Poshmark, I might only make $7 or $8 profit on eBay. But because that item sells for $20 on Poshmark, I might make $10 or $12 profit on Poshmark. So I started doing stuff like that. And it just kind of let me know that, you know, small profits add up, and you just have to constantly just kind of figure out which items sell better on each platform. And it just comes with time. You know what I mean? I can't necessarily tell you which brands perform better on each platform, but, you know, the more research you do, the more that you stick in the game, you realize which ones just sell a little better. But in terms of cross posting, I still do that. But I would usually list the item on Poshmark first, because once you take the pictures for that item on Poshmark, those photos are saved to your phone. And once I list the item on Poshmark, I'll give it a few days, and then I'll use those same photos and just list it on eBay. So that's something I like to do. Look like we got some good questions in the chat. I found a huge pair of custom shorts, and they have Dwight Howard's name in them. Oh, shit. I live in ATL, so it would make sense that they were his. Any tips? Wow. If you found Dwight Howard shorts, that would be crazy. I mean, I think he played for the Wizards right now, but still, that would be dope. If you got any like consignment shops in your area that have like that sell streetwear, I would probably take it to them, and just to have them authenticate it, because I'm pretty sure they'll have some experience with that, just so they could give you like a price point for it. And if they offer you, say they offer you $50, you already know that that's at least $100 and $150 for those shorts online. So I would just take it to them so they can authenticate it, maybe give you an offer for it, especially if you have like a round two or any type of streetwear consignment shop around you, and just kind of go off of what they tell you. If they tell you it's legit, cool. If they say that they think it's fake, get a second opinion. But I would do that. I would just make sure that it's legit, and then I would go ahead and sell it online myself. Because if you sell it to a consignment shop, they're either going to give you 50% or 30%. But if you're trying to maximize your profit, go ahead and sell it on eBay. Name a couple brands people think are hot brands, but are doo-doo to sell. My man, it's funny. Brands that people think are hot. A lot of people think Ralph Lauren. Anything Ralph Lauren, people think sells really well, but that's not true. Larger sizes in Ralph Lauren sell good, but smaller sizes don't necessarily move that well for me. Tommy Bahama, that's another brand that people used to hear that sells really well, but it doesn't. Just because it's a pair of Jordans doesn't necessarily mean that it's desirable or that it sells for a lot of money. Especially Team Jordans, people might just see a Jordan symbol and say, "Oh, that's $100," but that's usually not the case. That's definitely sometimes it's doodle. certain electronics, people think just because it may have like a Bose symbol on it, they may say, oh, this is easily $100 because it's Bose. But some of the older Bose stuff doesn't sell for a lot of money. I'll give you guys an example. I saw this Bose like an iPod dock, and you could plug up your old iPod into it and stuff like that. And it was selling for like $30 on eBay. And just because it was Bose, they in the Goodwill they priced it for $50. So a lot of these places, a lot of these Goodwills and these thrift stores, they see a certain brand and they automatically slap a higher price tag on it just because they know that brand is quality. But that's not always the case. Some stuff just doesn't sell, and it's doo-doo. Oh, we got some more questions in the chat. When would you say is the best time of day to send OTL on Poshmark? What's OTL? Please clarify what OTL is. I'm not familiar with all the Poshmark lingo. I don't really know. Any tips, experience with local pickup? I don't do local pick. I did local pickup one time. This is when I had a storage unit, and I told the person to meet me at the storage unit, and I just brought the pair of pants to them, and that was cool. I got positive feedback, and it worked out well. But I don't do local pickup anymore, only because, for one, I don't have time, and two, you can't trust people. You know what I mean? Especially somebody, they might try to rob you. You know what I mean? They might. Ever since I heard about that Craigslist, was it a Craigslist killer or something like that? Like, you can't really meet up with people just for the sake of them wanting to save some money on shipping. If they really want the item, pay the $8, $10 to ship it. I don't necessarily do local pickup. But if you have a store, if you're just cool with, doing local pickups, go ahead. But especially to older people out there or younger people out there for that matter, I wouldn't suggest do local pickup because you can't trust people. These online people is crazy. Do you sell a lot of activewear on Poshmark, i.e. dry fit shirts and shorts? Yes, I sell a lot of activewear, especially during the spring and summer. That's when I try to focus on that. And I would sell a lot of like board shorts and a lot of basketball shorts and stuff like that on Poshmark. I noticed a lot of people try to price their stuff on Poshmark, like a dry fit Nike t-shirt. They might charge $15. But keep in mind, shipping is $6. Also keep in mind they're charging tax on Poshmark. So if I was to sell like a regular dry fit shirt, I wouldn't price it that high. I might price it at $9 because I know the buyer has to pay so much for shipping. And if you price it at like a really good price and you have a bunch of them, somebody might bundle all of them. If it's the same size, they might bundle a few of them, and that might be better off for you. But I do sell a lot of activewear right now because that's what's selling.
Offers to likers.
Oh, offers to likers. Okay, so let me read that question again. This is from Lindy Edwards. When would you say is the best time of day to send offers to likers on Posh? I don't really do the offers to likers thing. I try to send it. Honestly, I just forget to send offers to likers because so many people, they just like items just for the sake of like social media aspect of Poshmark. They just want to engage with you. So they'll say, oh, cool shirt, and they'll like it, but they have no intentions of actually buying it. When it comes to the offers to likers, if I have like 20 likes on something, I'll just send the offer to likers any time of day. It doesn't really matter because they still have like 2 days to respond to it. So I don't think the time of day necessarily matters. I just think it's more so about if you have a ton of likes, that might be a time to capitalize on that as opposed to just not doing anything with it. But like I said, most buyers, most people on Poshmark, they're just liking it just because. So we got 59 people in the chat. Hit the like button for me, please, so I can get this video out to more people. We hit 40 minutes, and I think my goal was about 45. So I think we're about to wrap up pretty soon. Do you answer this question earlier? Hello, I have a question. Is it better to do an auction or buy it now? When it comes to doing an auction or to buy it now, I like to run an auction on an item only if I'm not sure what it will sell for. So if it's something that's really hot, really trendy, and it's popular, I might start my auction at whatever the base price is, whatever I'm most happy or comfortable with getting. I might start it at say $50, and if it sells for 50, I'm happy. But if it's a bunch of people interested, it might sell for more. And anything more than that is just, you know, icing on the cake. But people might start an auction at $0 or not $0. You might start an auction at $1 or 1 cent and thinking it'll be super competitive, but you'd be surprised at the amount of things on eBay that sells for $2 because it just didn't garnish enough attention. And of course the seller's mad because they sold their $100 item for $2. Like, believe me, it does happen. And if you try to cancel it just because it sold for that little bit amount of money, eBay definitely will give you not necessarily a strike, but if you keep canceling orders just because, you can definitely damage your account. That's the last question that I had saved from my previous videos. Do we have any questions in the live chat, Nami? I think we are all set on the live chat questions. Now, if you guys have any questions, we do have one more. Let me see. Do you miss working at the college? Hell no, I don't miss working at that. There's times when I miss. That person just asked, do I miss working at the college? Now, when I first started working, the first college I was working at, I was there for 4 years. Sometimes I missed that school. That was my alma mater, Buffalo State. And the last college I was working at was terrible. And it was just a bad experience. And that's what made me take the leap, because I hated my job. And instead of complaining about it, I just decided to quit. So that college in particular, I definitely don't miss that job. I'm thankful for it though, because if it wasn't for that situation, I would have never been doing what I'm doing today. But there are some times where I do miss my previous position when I was just an academic advisor, because I was working with students on a daily basis. I was just helping them kind of finesse through the whole college experience, and that was dope. But I think that's why I'm on YouTube now, because it's just in me to kind of share experiences and just kind of motivate people. So that's why I'm on YouTube now, just so I can still kind of get that aspect back. But for the most part, I will probably never work another job in my life, because I like being my own boss. I'm not going to say I will always be a reseller, but you know, there's tons of different businesses ideas that I have. There's stuff that we have planned in the future. So I'm gonna keep y'all updated on that and keep y'all posted. But I'm never probably gonna work a job again. So I think that's all the questions we had in the chat. I appreciate everybody for stopping in and dropping a question, dropping a like, dropping a comment. Larry Marshall dropping super chats for $20. I appreciate you. And yes, if you guys have any questions, drop it in the comment section, because once the live stream is over, I'm probably not going to see it, but drop it in the comment section. And if it's a really good question, I'll probably add it to my next live show. And I'll see you guys in the next one. So thank you very much and have a good weekend.